From the Storm Tracker 33 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel with a weather update. Right now we do have a tornado warning in place for portions of East Baton Rouge Parish, East Feliciana, Point Capee, and West Baton Rouge until 4:15. So that's only another 15 minutes, excuse me. And again, the area of concern is outlined underneath that red box. If you live around Irwinville or just north of there, mainly south of New Roads, we've seen a Doppler indicated thunderstorm, which means there is some rotation out there, nothing confirmed on the ground. But what we are looking at is, again, the city of Irwinville and areas just north of Port Ellen. It's a slow-moving system at about 30 miles per hour. Obviously, again, there has been some signs of rotation. We're talking just around Section Road, a little bit north of Highway 90 or 190, up towards areas such as Chanel and Alma and Ingleside. So as you can see, if you live anywhere within that red box, that's where you need to take shelter immediately. So anywhere just around New Roads and anywhere around False River. You can see anywhere from LA 415 down to LA 413. That area of concern is now kind of skipping right across LA 620. And then you see the road that goes just a little bit north of there. That's the area that we're watching closely. So LA 984. And I'm going to just kind of show you, because when you look at the area of concern, you're kind of looking for the bright red versus the bright greens out there. Well, this is the area that we're watching right now as it heads almost due north now at 30 miles per hour. So again, if you live anywhere in this area, I know it's not the most populated area. Again, it's a pretty rural area, but there still is that potential for a couple homes out there that could seek some damage. So just be smart. Move to an interior room well away from windows, and just have multiple ways, obviously, to receive warnings and to make sure you're alerted as to what is happening as we continue to move forward. Again, it looks like the rotation is rather weak, but there still is that potential that it could be translating to the surface. So again, just keeping an eye on this area that we've outlined here and circled, because that's where that tornado warning currently is. And once again, if you're kind of looking at the big picture here as we zoom in, you can see around 620 north of, or just a hair, I would say just a hair east of LA 413, now heading up towards the Alma area and the Rougon area, and then over towards Glen and Chanel Crossing, and then over towards Hermitage. So again, those are the areas of concern right now. That includes LA 416 at this point. So as again, just looking at that area kind of in that watch box, or excuse me, that warning area, and you'll notice that right now the area of concern is highlighted until 4:15. So we've got a few more minutes out there, another 13 minutes in fact. I doubt they're going to probably extend it, but there still is that potential concern, because if you look at a larger box across the board, you can see that we've got a nice little pocket of heavy rainfall out there. Obviously, that's pretty much the leading edge, and that's what we're going to have to watch out. Now, again, the Storm Prediction Center is watching a bigger area for later on this evening, and we're talking after 7 p.m., possibly going until about 9, 10 o'clock this evening ahead of that cold front, and that's the area of concern. We currently aren't underneath a watch right now. However, that could become a possibility later on this evening, possibly around the 6 and 7 o'clock hour tonight. Again, you see there is a tornado watch out for much of Acadiana and Lake Charles, and that extends almost into Alexandria until 9 o'clock this evening. But the threat is really going to start to increase as we move forward. Notice again, when you look at the picture here, this is what we're watching. It's the fact of that we've got that low developing and digging towards the northeast, and ahead of that front is where we're going to start to see more action as we move into the evening hours, and that's why there is a greater threat out there. But obviously the immediate concern is for all of those that are currently within that area underneath that red polygon. That is a tornado warning now until 4:15. That cell is moving towards the north at 30 miles per hour, and it's just a little bit north of Irwinville, moving and inching closer to the New Roads and False River area, and potentially maybe even as far north as St. Francisville. So again, rotating winds are a possibility in this type of system. Watch out for flying debris. Again, we are including the parishes of East Baton Rouge, West Feliciana, Point Capee, and West Baton Rouge. Mainly, we're talking now mainly just on the western side of the Mississippi River at this point. So Again, when you look at the picture here, if you live anywhere within this box, and I'll zoom in just a little bit to kind of show you what we're talking about. Port Hudson, Waterloo, Hermitage, Rougon, Elfords, all the way down towards the Smithfield area, a little bit north of Cary, and slightly to the west. Again, you got to cross Airline Highway, which is, again, that's going to be the area of concern. And again, we're just going to look one more time back at the storm winds here, and just to see if we are actually picking up anything. You'll see here that we're going to watch those storms, that individual cell. And let's see what here. We got some new information out there. Tornado warning, radar indicated. They are going to continue it until 4:15, but it does look like they have dropped. They've now included Point Coupee Parish. So again, we're watching this area very closely, heading towards the Rougon area, as you see here. And what's happening is, again, this area is so far away from the Doppler radar site, it's a lot of times very difficult to see what's actually being translated to the surface, because we're getting scans of the upper levels of the atmosphere, not so much at the surface. And again, at this point, it's pretty cloudy outside. You're probably looking at, if there is something spinning in that area, it's probably rain wrap, so it's not going to be very visible. It's not going to be very easy to see. So if you live just around Airline Highway now and slightly north of there around LA 413 and just north of LA 620 heading towards the Rougon area, I'll kind of show you here what I'm talking about. If you kind of live here and mainly just a little bit north of there, I'd be worried again for the possibility of rotating winds, or at least some damaging winds in the area. Maybe some flying debris. We're talking some snapped tree limbs, maybe some lawn furniture getting picked up. Obviously, there could be more in the area. We could even see some winds at 35, 45 miles per hour, kind of in that general area. So just be on the lookout for some very strong and damaging winds possible in this area. Now, I do want to check out just also to see if there's a hail threat. And right now, it really doesn't seem like that's too much of a concern, because, again, we're more concerned about the possibility of those rotating winds out there. So, again, we're watching this area as it heads towards the north now at about 30 miles per hour. And you can kind of see here what we're talking about. The Rougon area, Chanel Crossing, anything else that's kind of set back a little bit. You can see here, I'm going to kind of pan it out a little bit more, so you can kind of see what we're talking about, this area right here. If, again, in the cone, heading towards the New Roads area. And let's see if we can bounce back here a little bit so you get to see what's going on. So up towards New Roads, Waterloo, mainly just east of New Roads. But again, there are a couple other areas that are of concern just a little bit north of there. And once again, I just want to show you what the new update says. And it does look like they've issued another tornado warning out there. And again, I think that's going to be, they're going to drop the one probably and let's see here. Okay, so it is a new tornado warning for East Baton Rouge, East Feliciana, Point Coupee, West Baton Rouge, West Feliciana until 4:15. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Irwinville or 8 miles southeast of New Roads, and it's continuing to move north at 30 miles per hour. So again, that's the area that we're watching. If you live within that box, know what to do. The best thing that you can do is have that game plan, and if you haven't put one aside, well, now is the time to really activate that game plan. So have a disaster supply kit, move to an interior room, avoid windows and glass. Once again, have multiple ways to receive warnings. And if you're living towards the north end of that red polygon, well, you may want to evacuate if you do live in a mobile home. You still got a little bit of time before that cell moves across your area or your general location. So once again, we're going to get back to that Doppler radar, and you're going to see here that this is the area that we're watching. It includes, and we'll zoom in just a little bit here, so you can see we're talking areas just around LA 620. We're talking some areas a little bit further north. Not seeing too much in the way of rotation anymore, and again, not the strongest. I mean, there is that potential that we could see some rotating winds now, almost crossing the, what highway is that? Like Island Road and False River Road, getting very close to that general area. So you can see we're heading right towards the Rougon area, and then eventually up towards Hermitage, and possibly Waterloo within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So again, you can see exactly when we look at it on the storm winds here. Oops, excuse me, as I drop that through. You'll see that isolated cell 2 on Futurecast is starting to move through and should move through pretty quickly, obviously, before early evening, before that next wave arrives going into the evening hours. So as you see here, LA 416 is the area of concern, and if you know anybody in that area and you're currently watching, well, just kind of notify them that there could potentially be something on the ground heading in that general direction. Again, not the strongest of winds, it looks like, because again, you like to see the bright greens and bright reds indicating that there is a potential tornado on the ground. But again, there still is that possibility because you're looking, when you look at the big picture here, our Doppler radar site is sitting way over here. So yeah, we're talking, this is our Doppler radar site. We are getting an upper level scan. So again, we may not be seeing exactly what's going on at the surface. And obviously that is the concern. And that's why there is a warning in that general area, just to make sure that everybody is safe and alert to the possibility that there could be something near the surface. So as you see here, and we zoom in just a little bit, keeping an eye on this general area. Now kind of moving just past the False River area, you can see right here, this is kind of where that False River area lies. So this is False River right here. You've got the cities that lie on the outside, but you got Rugen right here, now crossing LA 416, probably with some pretty strong and decent winds out there. And just remember that this is going to be a pretty active situation throughout the afternoon and early evening. And just kind of looking at what could ramp up for the evening hours, I think our main window is going to be between 7 and 9 tonight. So again, we are far from done with this type of situation. When you look at the bigger picture here, and just kind of zoom out a little bit, just kind of give you an idea that this cell is going to move through. We may get a little bit of a gap for the short time. But again, we've got more storms developing out west ahead of that next frontal system that are really going to probably or potentially could ignite and become very strong later on tonight, and enough that we could be seeing maybe even a tornado watch for much of the viewing area, at least through early evening, at least until about midnight. So again, you got a storm front, and that's what we're going to be watching as the system kind of drives up towards the northeast. Luckily right now we're not underneath a tornado watch, but we still have to watch out for these isolated cells out there that could potentially produce a tornado. What I do want to say is this is not a confirmed tornado. We have no proof that there's anything on the ground. We haven't got any spotter information. We haven't got reports from emergency management, but what we are seeing is rotation on Doppler radar from the National Weather Service site in Slidell, and that's why there is the potential for concern out there. So again, rotating winds, and obviously again, anytime there's a tornado warning, that's the time to put that game plan into action. So move well away from windows. You can also follow us on our app. That's BeOurProud.com for the very latest information. And it looks like they have allowed that tornado warning now to expire for East Baton Rouge, East Feliciana, Point Capee, West Baton Rouge, and West Feliciana. So again, they are going to expire that tornado warning, which is definitely some good information as you see here. So things are looking much better, obviously. And I believe, let's see, they continue to, yeah, it looks like the National Weather Service site in Slidell is going to allow that tornado warning to expire. So again, not really seeing too much, again, some weaker scans, which has kind of been happening over the last couple runs here. And we'll just once again look at our velocity here, storm winds, to see again, yeah, maybe even a little bit of a bow a little bit south of there. Now again, there are some areas out there, and again, with no actual visible reports, yes, just be well aware that there could be some very strong winds still in the area. In fact, a little bit further south now, just along Airline Highway 190, you can see it kind of starting to bow a little bit right here a little bit. So you could see some stronger winds now, maybe even up to that 40 mile or 40 plus mile an hour range just along 190, so Airline Highway, heading your way out towards Opelousas. So again, some pretty decent winds in that general area. So again, they are going to allow that, it looks like, that tornado warning to expire in just a few seconds now. So it should expire at 4:15 for the area. And you'll see here, again, let's see if there's new information. Yeah, it should say, yeah, again, we're constantly getting new information here. Well, in the Alexandria area, they did spot a funnel cloud, so that's well north of the area. So central Louisiana reporting a funnel cloud just around Alexandria. Again, that is outside of the area, but you'll see, again, big picture, keeping an eye on some of these individual cells, and that's going to really be the concern throughout the afternoon. Watching these little pockets out there, most likely it's this cell right here, the potential for some rotating winds, because, again, a spotter near Alexandria just saw a funnel cloud, so is reporting a funnel cloud. We're also kind of watching, again, some other areas where we could see some decent winds out there, now crossing Airline Highway, and as you see a little bit further north, there could be a little bit of some strong or at least some gusty winds out there that could produce some damage just around LA 414 right now, heading towards the Hermitage area, and just now a little bit north of LA 416. So again, just showing you the latest. They have allowed that tornado warning to expire, but stay very vigilant throughout the afternoon. We're going to get you back to regular programming just a little bit here, but again, tornado warning has expired, but stay alert this evening. There is the potential, at least for this afternoon, for more cells to produce possibly some rotating winds, and the concern is mainly going to be a window after 7 p.m. that we're watching very closely. So again, if you have some evening plans, be well aware that it could be a very active situation out there. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Make sure you download our app, and again, if anything is warranted, we're going to give you the very latest information on our television screens. Thanks for joining us.